Okay, we are finally getting this podcast going. I'm excited.
Yes.
We are with hi, ciao, I guess, right?
Ciao.
Yeah. So we are here with Mariana, and say your last name again for me.
Bruscoli.
Yes.
Bruscoli, yes. And I was at a tasting the other night that I got to do in kind of the downtown Nashville area. And I got invited by a friend, and I was just blown away by these Italian wines. We got to try some bubbles that were delicious, and then we had 2 whites and 2 reds. And I'm like, man, I needed these bottles in my life. So, Sinkers was putting it on. Sinkers is a local liquor and wine shop, and they've been doing these things where they have these tastings, and luckily enough, you were there, Mariana, with your wine. And I was like, I'm my birthday's coming up, and I said I need these wines on my birthday. So I already ordered some of the wines because they're so good. But yeah, like, why don't you just go dive into your winery and your property and who you are and where you're from in Italy, and yeah, just the spiel.
Okay, so thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with you tonight. So thanks indeed.
Yes.
I'm from Urbino. Urbino is a UNESCO heritage city placed on top of a hill in Marche region, north of Marche region. Marche region is on the Adriatic coast, central Italy. We are a family-run business in the surrounding area of Urbino, and the Tenuta spreads for over a series of gentle hills that goes down to the river Foglia that bounded our state for more than 7 kilometers. We nowadays, thanks to my grandfather Antonio and my families before me, of course, my parents and my brother, nowadays, me and my brother are the owners of these big parts of land. It is more than 1,000 acres wide, where we produce mainly crops, so means cereals, vegetables, and fruit. We also have 30 acres of grape, so we produce wine inside our wine cellar. And in all this land, my family decided to restore an ancient rural village where nowadays in 6 different buildings, we host people, 32 rooms. And we have restaurants inside 3 lakes and a barn for wellness center. It used to be a barn, but nowadays is a wellness center as well. We have swimming pool outside and also horse stables, because we organize twice a year horses competition. A very important things to know is the name. The name of the company is Tenuta Santi Giacomo and Filippo. Tenuta means estate that has been dedicated to the 2 saints, Giacomo and Filippo, that takes the name to the abbey inside our property.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. So why don't you tell us about some of the varietals that you carry wine-wise?
Yeah, I mean, we when we decided to root the first part, it was 2006. My brother decided to root the first parts of the 30 acres we have today, because we would like to thank our grandfather Ercole, that he used to vinificate Sangiovese at home. It was from Emilia-Romagna, was from Rimini, from Romagna. So, and then we decided to grow more other grapes, and we did mostly native grapes. We grown for red grapes on top, Sangiovese and Montepulciano, but we have also Syrah and Merlot. And for white grapes, we have Incrocio Bruni 54. I will tell you if you would like after the story behind. Verdicchio grape, and that is most popular spread grape from Marche region, and also Bianchello. We grow our white grapes along the river Foglia, where the soil is more silty and sandy, and on top of the hill for all the reds, where the soil turns a little bit more on clay.
Wow. Okay, so tell us the story of the first one that you said.
Oh yeah, okay. Incrocio Bruni 54, I dedicated the two selection white wines to this grape because I always thought that it is a very great grape. And Mr. Bruno Bruni, in 1936, tried to cross flower of Verdicchio grape with the flower of Sauvignon Blanc grape. He did it after 54 times. This is the reason why the grape is called Incrocio, that means crossing. Bruni, the name of this winemaker, 54. And nowadays, thanks to winemakers from Marche region, nowadays are 20 the wine cellar that produce this kind of grape. And we did in two different ways. Only still vat, 2 years on fine lees, temperature controlled. And on the other side, we have, after the age process in still vat, we put a part of the wine inside the amphora clay vat. And it's the same vinification process, the same grapes, so the same time of harvest, but very different wine.
Yeah, it was crazy. I actually tried these two whites the other night.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was insane how like one was just it was a bigger white. It was more robust. It had just a bigger nose, and then the other one was just very dry and light. And, it was just crazy how it was like the same grape, but like how it was treated, like totally affected. I mean, you could still tell it was the same grape, but just the way that it was fermented and the way it was made, it was just, it had a totally different outcome.
Wow.
And I found that really like fascinating that you had us try them like together and to be like, look at what like having this in clay, having this in steel, like, and then just the difference of it with the same exact grape. So it just shows you like the versatility in winemaking, just how you can do the same grape, but it can just be totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And both were so good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, what we would like to have is, of course, from our soil, mainly the wines present high acidity and high minerality. This is the reason why you can have very powerful grape to work with, and you can age this kind of grape like Verdicchio as well in several different ways. So when you put the wine inside a still vat, it evolve, of course, but it's remain, especially if is it temperature controlled, it remains very dry with a very floral nose on top, chamomile in this case, flowers. And in the mouth, it's really sapid, it's really salty, and it's very dry and very round. On the other side, after the clay vat time, at least 12 months, of course, the acid malic process is done. So it means that the wine is micro-oxygenated inside this kind of vat. So it's not oxidated at all. So the color turns more on gold instead of bright from the first, but still you have a pretty dry wine, but more creamy texture, more balsamic hints. So sage on top, mountain hay, and in the mouth you have really round long aftertaste.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
I can't wait for you to try some of these wines. They're so
So
good.
does that wine go through malolactic fermentation?
The second one, of course, yes, because the first one is temperature controlled, maintained. So
Right.
it maintains always high acidity. And but of course, on the other side, the amphoras are not temperature controlled. They are very thick. So it's something like you can have oxygenation of the wine. So, but the Mali acid process is done. So yeah, it's different.
So I have a question. So did you just like grow up learning all of this, or like did your family have you go to school, or it was just like being in this world, you just learned all of it?
No. When I was young, I tried to study at the university foreign languages. So I did translation at the university but when my grandparents, Antonio, decided that I could be a farmer. Okay, so someone that could manage all the lands, and I did it. Sometimes, also when I always have to say that probably the passion of making wine is inside our veins, but mostly from my brothers that decided to wrote the first part, and I decided to improve. And all the knowledge nowadays I have is making the process, because what we have done is that we opened our wine cellar only in 2016. So it means that we had the possibility to experiment, to have the possibility to try which kind of grape could fit at best in our soil. So I had the possibility to work also with great winemakers that let me know what I know nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. So you didn't initially intend on, you were going to do foreign language, and then you just kind of, this happened because it was a part of your family. So you were like, okay, I'm going to go in this direction instead.
Exactly. Yes, because I've also 3 daughters, so I decided to remain home and follow all the activities that are inside the estate. Yeah.
Do you think that your daughters are going to want to be a part of the business?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I really don't know. My brother has 5 children, so who knows? I mean, we work to try to let a little bit better than how we found. I mean, my parents before than me and my grandparents did a very great job. So we try to improve it, and yeah, we let them free to first make the school they would like to have and make the experience they would like to have, and then all the doors are open. But I guess that probably the most important things to do is to start the working process, their work business activities in other companies, and then come home. Probably it's the West way. Who knows? I mean, we will see.
Yeah.
We are open.
What would you say is the most challenging part of running and owning a winery resort?
Yeah. We are in a very beautiful area, but we are also not in the main spot that usually people arrive first in Italy. I mean, the main cities, the main regions. But this is probably the most difficult things, is that you have to let the people know that we are there. We live in a very beautiful UNESCO heritage city, one of the most important in the Renaissance period. and is that also we can have amazing products and amazing landscape as all the other region in Italy. So this is probably one of the most difficult things, but it is also, if you look on other eyes, is an opportunity. So we are trying to do our best also with the wines to let people knows the story behind wines, behind labels, and behind why nowadays we have an hotel, as a wine resort, or we do wines, or we have a wedding destination as well. So yeah,
you kind of have it all going on, everything. Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I really did feel like during that wine tasting, I felt like, I imagine, you know, I was listening to you talking about the resort and everything, and then I was trying the wines. And in my opinion, I was kind of like, man, like these wines are so good. Like, and there's all these different options that you could really just have all these different options, and you could just stay just there the whole time and like experience Italy, experience wine, but have a lot of different varieties. And so I really appreciated that you guys just didn't feel like you were like a one note. It was like, wow, they have these great whites that are they're different, but they're the same in a way. And then these reds that are just fantastic. And then these sparkling, like, I just don't know if you could go to, you know, any winery and just say that they have this kind of variety. So I think it says something that like you can come here and you could really just, everything's just there, you know, in terms of the wine you'd want to drink and the scenery and I mean, I'm guessing the food is really good. I can tell that you're a very like attention to detail type of person. So I have no doubt that the food is amazing. So yeah.
We try to do our best, of course.
Yeah. So if people like are to visit you guys, like what city would they travel to then to get to you?
Yeah, we are 3 hours by car from Rome and 4.5 hours far from Milano. So the probably the most easiest way to reach our resort, our estate, is to land in Bologna. Or yes, Ancona, but probably Bologna is the best way, because Bologna is really very connected. It has very many connection flights to all the other main European cities that has many flights to the US all over.
So you go into Bologna and then you would drive from there?
Yeah, I mean, we organize also transfers. So if we know, we can organize everything from the airport of Bologna or Ancona. Yeah. Or, but yes,
so
people
you'll
can
pick up
rent
people.
A car. Yeah, also.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
I wait
That's what we're going to do. Yeah, we're trying to plan a trip. Yeah, we're going to come. Like, for sure.
No, it's going to happen. We're going to do this.
Yeah, no, we're doing it. 100%. So, oh my gosh. So cool. So, out of all of the wines, which one would you say you tend to like the most?
Of course, all the labels we produce are, for me, like, you know, son and daughters, like kids.
Yeah.
But I always said that, I always say that Bell'Antonio and Fortercole, that are the 2 selection white grapes, white wines, and the 1 selection red wines, Fortercole, that takes the name to our grandparents. So me and my brother, we decided to have to put 1 label rounded to the bottles, like saying thank you so much, like a hug on a bottle. And we there is few words in honor to them printed on the labels. So of course, the two selection wines are my favorite. Are my favorite.
Yeah, because you feel like attached through like your ancestors too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like, and maybe you can talk more to this, but it does seem like there is this culture in Italy that is a lot about legacy and family. Why do you think that is?
It is because I grown with the idea that always that if you respect time the nature imposed to us, it foster health and wellness. And in a place like ours, that is inside a faunal oasis, a protected area, we decided, my mom decided to turn all the agriculture in an organic certification process, and we start since 1995, so it's almost 30 years, and all the soil is now full of free of chemicals and residuals and pesticides. So and I have to say that mostly of all the other producers placed in our province of Pesaro Urbino are organic certified. We are one of the biggest province all over Europe. So it's normal things, okay? We grow mainly with the idea to respect nature as much as possible. So this is the reason why everything is more or less organic, and everything is as a big respect, not only us, but all other products also before than us did it. So yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, well, and also I feel like, I don't know, the whole organic aspect too is just like a whole nother level. And I think a lot of people are, when they're thinking about wine and when they're thinking about their food now more than ever, they're thinking about these things more than they were before. And you hear people talk about that. Like, I mean, I work in a grocery store. You hear people talk about food. You hear people talk about what they're drinking, and they're like, I really want to make sure there's not chemicals or there's not bad things in what I have. And I mean, it sounds like you all have been doing that since the 90s, which is like you were way ahead of the game in all of this, because I feel like this is now starting to become like a very big topic of conversation. And the fact that you've been doing it from the 90s, like, so what do you think was like the inclination from your family and your mother to do that? Was it just other people in Italy were doing the same thing? They were trying to go organic, or they were trying to do less chemicals, or was it like a regulation or a law, or it was just a conviction?
Yeah, it's a conviction, it's a choice. There are always more people than trying to do this kind of process, because for being organic means not only that you can enter into the rows of the vineyards with any chemicals, so you can preserve diseases from only thanks to copper and sulfur, but mostly is an idea of what there is behind. This is what you would like to have, a wine or a product without low sulfites added, without any animals preservatives. For example, as we are speaking about wines, we do not clarify any wines. We are vegan friendly as well. So this is what we think about, but there are always more people. And in our part of the region, many producers start this process in early 60s also, before than us. And we all together nowadays, we try to, to improve as much as possible the idea of this, that organic products, organic productions can help to maintain the wellness and the healthy, also for the area, the surrounding, the air that you breathe as well is really important.
So yeah, you're thinking about like the overall like planet and the land and making it better for everything. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for everyone, for everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We try to do our best in order to preserve the land that we have, but also the all the other lands that is behind us and beside us, So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't. So you just like you combat like mold and all that with just like copper and sulfur.
Yes. We can use only in an organic certification process copper and sulfur for enter inside the vineyards in case they will be attack from disease like peronospora or other diseases.
So how hot does it get and how cold does it get normally where you have the vineyards throughout the year? Like what's the hottest it'll get and what's the kind of the coldest it'll get?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
The temperature. What is your kind of temperature gauge?
Sorry.
Yeah. How hot and cold does it normally get?
I mean, during winter time, we try also to is all the vineyards are green manure, so it's we try to at best we open the soil also, and we try to put as much as rain possible down to the soil. So in usually in late fall, winter time is rainy, very cold, and sometimes we have also a lot of snow. So the temperature goes down a little bit in winter time. But we are facing in last 10 years always more very hot summers with very hot winds. We can reach also 93 Fahrenheit during summer times. So this is the reason why we mainly roast the white grapes along the river, because we would like to preserve as much as possible during night and day the differences between temperature. And but yes, sometimes it's really hard, and the only things that could help is what we do in wintertime. So, but also we can help with grass along the roads. Yeah, so it's not easy, but it's always more warm.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been hearing that from a lot of different winemakers and people we've been talking to, that overall it's just they're like, you don't think it's hotter, it's warmer. They're like, ask any person that's making wine right now and they'll tell you that it's warmer. So a lot of people I've heard are the same thing. They're having to harvest earlier or later, I guess. I don't know. Like it's just different than it used to be because of the heat.
Of course, it's different, but it depends from the grape and
where you are,
which kind of wine you would like to have. But usually, if may I say, since 10 years, in 10 years, we always start the harvest earlier. So for Incrocio Bruni 54, there is a very stubborn, difficult grape to have.
Stubborn.
We start the harvest always before the 15th of August, almost always, since the few years. and for whites usually starts at the end of August, first days of September. Bianchello comes out always turning into pink, very nice color the first days of September. For reds, we start in September, middle of September at the ends, and we end middle of October for the selection red grapes.
Wow.
Yeah, so just in 10 years.
So they could potentially, while you're here in the States, they could be doing red grapes right now, huh?
I mean, yes, yes. At home, there are people that great people that is working on harvest time. Yes.
Yeah. What is the best time to visit the winery resort? What time of year? When's the best time?
Fall and during harvest time is always a very nice time because the temperature goes a little bit down.
Yeah.
And the nights could be chilly a little bit, and but you have and also the leaves change their colors, so it's pretty nice. But in my opinion, where green hills are all over and flowers and everything is at the most beautiful time, in my opinion, is always late days of last days of May,
like spring. Yeah.
Late spring, first days of June as well.
Yeah.
This is really brilliant color all over and nice, very nice.
Okay, we're taking notes for our trip, so.
And notes for everybody else. Like
Yeah.
if there's so many people actually because of like going through COVID, and it's crazy how many friends we have that have gone to Italy and that are planning to go to Italy. And
Yep.
I think that that's like a big destination place right now. I'm sure that it was like, you know, all locked down and now it's booming again. But just this last summer, a bunch of our friends we knew went to Italy. And so, you know, if you're listening to this and you are thinking about Italy, I think this is a place that you should visit that like isn't going to be super touristy. It's going to be a local place. It's going to be more intimate and private and really cool and not something everyone is doing, which I
Right.
think is really neat. And you're going to get to experience some wines that are just freaking fantastic.
Yep.
So, yeah, one more time, say the name of the winery and the city that it's in.
Yes, of course. Tenuta Santi Giacomo in Filippo is placed in Urbino, Marche region.
Okay. And we'll link all of this in
The website.
the website. We'll link
the
everything in the
socials, everything,
podcast
so people
and
can check it
so
out
people can
and
check
fall
it
in love
out.
with it.
Yeah, Mariana, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yes.
And we just
Jay and
appreciate
Chelsea,
it.
Thank
Yes.
you so much for the opportunity,
Yes.
for being here with me tonight. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And I am going to totally, when I get this wine that I ordered, I'm going to open it on my birthday and I'm going to take a picture with TJ and I'm going to shout you all out. So it's good wine.
Great.
So,
thank you so much.
Yes.
And I wait for you in Italy. Absolutely.
yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, cheers to Mariana.
Cheers. It's okay if you don't have a glass.
Cheers.
Thank you.